Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Thursday, guys. So I'm on the move, another busy day, but I wanted to jump on and talk about the topic that I received an email from a young lady who's here on my YouTube page. She's very supportive. I just love her. But I wanted to touch on toxic empathy. In fact, if I'm honest, I didn't even know this was a word until I saw one of Pastor R.C. Blake's recordings on it a few months ago. And I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like, oh. So toxic empathy is literally a thing, right? And so, in fact, what I'll do is I'll put the his link in the description for those of you who want to view it if you have not seen it yet. But it's mind-blowing, especially for my empaths or just people who just deal with toxic empathy. So here's my thoughts on toxic empathy. For myself, I struggle with it immensely. I won't even lie to you. I still struggle with it now, but I don't struggle with it nearly as much as I had in the past. But it's draining. It's extremely draining. And what it boils down to is basically you're holding on to people, or you don't know how to release people because you're worried about them. You're worried about how they're going to feel. And even though these people are draining you, even though these people are, not supposed to go into the next season, or they refuse to put the work in to help themselves or whatever. Now, let's be honest. It's not to say that these people haven't went through their own stuff, right? A lot of times they have, and that's why us with these huge hearts, we feel so responsible for them, because we know what they've been through. A lot of them came from things that we haven't experienced, right? So I get that part of it. But at the same time, the same work that we had to put in to heal, they have to put the same work in. Because see, how did you heal, or how did you start your healing process? It started with accountability and then started to be responsible for yourself and put your work in. But see, if you're putting the work in for them, and mostly that's what we do, because we want to just fix them, or we want to help them. And what we don't realize is that we're literally handicapping them. So you can't fix them. You will never ever fix them. And it's not your job to fix them, regardless of how beautiful your heart is. They have to want, first and foremost. If no one wants to get better, if no one wants to heal, there's nothing in the world that you can do. If there's one thing, I don't really live by that word regret, but if that's one thing that I can say, is the amount of time I wasted trying to fix people, trying to heal people. It can be people who say they wanted to be healed, but those were just words, and sometimes people use that against you. When you have a big heart, people will literally use you because they know that no one else in the world is going to deal with that. It's like, listen, we all been through stuff. Get up, let's get moving. I'm going to help you, but I'm not going to, sit here and waste my life trying to do the work for you. But I'm here to help you. But at some point, when you realize that these people are not helping themselves, you got to walk away. You got to walk away. And that's the hardest thing to do, because a lot of times they've had other people who have abandoned them, right? So when you met them, you may have been the person who made the promise to say, okay, everyone else have left you, everyone else have walked away from you, I won't do that. I will never do that. So now you're struggling with that I gave them my word type thing, right? And I get it. Again, I'm one of the people, again, if I give you my word is my word. So if I got you, I got you. But at the same time, is it hurting me? That's when it becomes a problem. Now, if you can help somebody and it's not draining you or hurting you, that's one thing. But at some point, when you realize that it is literally affecting you, that's a problem. That is when you got to be like, you know what, either you're going to get with it or you're not. So you have to start putting up some boundaries and listen, I'm going to give you 3 months to X, Y, and Z. I'm going to give you 1 week to check into counseling. I'm going to give you 6 months to find a job, get a place, and be stable, and not, like, you got to start putting boundaries in place. Like, I'm going to help you. Like, I'll help you because maybe you don't know how to read or write. I'm just saying. Maybe you don't know how to read or write. So I'm going to help you by going to the library with you and helping you fill out this application. I'm going to help you. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm going to help you. And once I've done my part, then that's all, that happened to me a couple of years ago. It was a friend of mine who was really trying, but was dealing with some depression. And so a lot of people had pretty much just given up on him, if I'm honest. And not given up on him, but they really couldn't see past the fact that he was depressed. So they were judging him based on being lazy and based on this and based on that. And I get it. Again, I get both points. I get both points of things at times. But sometimes when a person is depressed, they just don't have that energy and that drive. So when you see them laying on the couch and just not bathing for days, and just literally just looking like a hot mess, sometimes it's not that they're lazy, they just don't have it in them. So sometimes they just need that motivation, not you emasculating them or saying hurtful things, but more so less motivation. Like, listen, I'm gonna knock on this door, open up the door, I'm gonna drag you up off this couch, right? I'm gonna put you in the shower. I'm gonna open these curtains. We're going to go get some fresh air, and we're going to go have a conversation. Let me pour into you. Let me tell you how you can do it. I made the wrong turn. Let me pour into you. And once you pour into them, and that energy starts to then, and that confidence starts to come back, now you can help them with that next step. So you see the difference between judging someone versus attempting to help them. And I helped him. And guess what? That same person went to get their CDL, got a job, was making tons of money, and the whole 9 yards. You see the difference? But my point is, he wanted the help, but no one else could see that he just needed that motivation. Instead, they were just bashing him for being lazy and this, and couldn't see that he was I wouldn't say severely depressed, but depressed. But I gave him the motivation. I helped him with the drive. I helped him with the first step. So sometimes we are just called to help people, not take care of them, help them. But again, if you're dealing with that person and they just don't want the help, you got to move on. You have to move on. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're blood, it doesn't matter. If it's draining you, it's time to move on. So we find ourselves sticking with people who the love is no longer there because we feel like, oh, well, no one in his or her family wants them, and so now we feel like, oh, I just have to carry this person because if I leave them, they're going to go into, depression, and no one else in the family will help. That's not your problem. And this is coming from an empath. So that's how you know I have put the work in, because I couldn't say that several years ago. I'd have been like, oh, just get a bucket of water and wash them up on the couch. Oh, don't leave them because they may. So that's how you know I put the work in. So now it's still hard for me, right? Because I find myself wanting to do, but instead I pull back and I give people boundaries. Like, there was somebody who I gave a job to, and I know this person, had some issues, and I know that probably the majority of the people would not have hired this person. And I knew it would be a risk, but see, you only allow a certain amount. That this person may be a risk, but you don't give them too much access. So it's kind of like, listen, I'm going to give you enough rope. If you hang yourself, you hang yourself. But I'm going to give you an opportunity because I want to help you. Now, you can take the help and go higher with it. Or again, you can take that rope and hang yourself. But I know once I've done my part, I've done my part. And so this person did well for a bit, and then eventually hung himself. Well, guess what? it was hard for me to walk away mentally because I felt like, oh, I was probably the only person in the world who would give them the chance. And I see their heart and I see they want more, but they have more demons to fight than the average person. But then I thought about, how is it hurting me? It's hurting me because now you're not showing up to work for whatever reason. Now I got to come in. I got to find staff. That's hurting me and that's hurting my business. So because I respect me, I can't allow you to hurt me. So now let's bounce back to you. Why do you feel it's okay for someone to constantly take advantage of you? Why do you feel like you're responsible for a person who's hurting you? Why do you feel that way? There's a good chance that you don't feel great enough about yourself. And if I'm honest, when I think back years and years ago, that's potentially what it could have been. Because when you finally arrive to that place where you know who you are and you know your worth and you know your value, you're not going to allow anybody to disrespect you. That can mean a relationship. You will walk away from a relationship, love or no love. You will walk away when it comes down to your respect and your boundaries and you know your worth. You won't even allow people to disrespect you like that. You wouldn't even want it around you because you love yourself. So there may be some areas in your life that you may need to dissect and then heal. And then, of course, start to work on your confidence and your self-esteem and your worth. Because I promise you, most of us, if not all of us, walk around and say, oh, I know who I am. I love myself. I'm confident. We say that, but then look at our actions. Your actions is what's going to really tell you that. So, yeah. So I'm just pulling up some meeting. I hope this helps you, but I did send you a link. I'm going to put the link in the description as well for Pastor R.C. Blake's Toxic Empathy recording. It blew my mind. I was like, Lord, I never knew about this. I'm a toxic empath. No more, though. No more. You got to be intentional. You have to be intentional, and it gets easier each time. Never easy. Still not easy for me, if I'm honest. I still struggle. I had to call back and change something this morning. I already agreed to something, and it's toxic empathy, and I'm no longer there. So you guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.